It's my first presidential election, so it's going to be the first time where I get to choose who I want for president.
I think there's more of an urgency to vote in this election.
It feels like a do or die election, so there's definitely a lot of hostility and a lot of anxiety coming up this week.
I'm definitely a little anxious, a little excited though. I have a lot of friends who follow along different party lines than I do, and I'm excited to see how things are going to go, but I'm worried it's going to affect a lot of my personal relationships as well, but I'm hopeful still.
I think the election is very critical, so I think that we all understand the need for all of us to go vote, and I feel like that energy, almost like we're all almost on fire, almost like we're really I'm looking forward to this election, especially because right now us young people make up such a large portion of the voting population, and if we all go out and vote, we can see the difference that we want to see.
It feels like students are paying attention to the election as well, maybe at a higher level than they have in the past, or even students who are paying attention. I think they realize how important these elections are. I think sometimes people watch elections almost like they're watching sports, like it's sort of a hobby, and this feels real. I mean, people are living in the middle of again, a pandemic, and we're sitting in classes, we're doing interviews with masks on, and so it feels like the issues that are on the table are really affecting us. Across the country already, again, we'll see next week after the election, but already the numbers show that turnout among college-age students, so the demographic from 18 to 25-year-old, they're often the least likely to vote, and their numbers are incredibly high this time compared to previous elections. So young people are taking it very seriously. They're getting involved. They're going out. They're not just voting. They're going out and volunteering and participating in the campaigns in ways that are a little different than the past 20 years.
We had early voting here at Keene State, and we had about 240 people vote, which is a little bit less than 10% of our population, which is great that we were able to offer that to the student body. And we have buses and vans going directly to the polls with people telling you exactly what you're going to need. Right outside the student center, they're going to tell you that you just basically need your ID, maybe your OWL card, and a piece of mail if you live off campus. I think people like President Tradewell and Kim Schmidl-Gagney and the Student Center staff have all done a fantastic job at making sure there's the resources out there to make sure that students, if they want to vote, they can vote.
And that's all about helping undergraduate students get involved in civic life. So voting is a big part of that. So this is important. Getting buses, hand sanitizer, cookies to try to thank students for taking time out of their day to go and vote and express their opinion in a national election is a big deal.
Voting is one of the most important things that we can do. It's the easiest way, I think, to have a vote heard for a lot of us. And it's also just being a part of the political process and engaging.
I kind of know how it feels not to have your vote matter, because I know what it's like, because I was born in Africa, so like at home they had a lot of issues with people controlling things and not giving people the right to vote. So I think now being in America and being a United States citizen and having that right to vote, it matters, because there's people who fought for that right for me.
I just feel like voting is really important, and since it's so easy and straightforward enough, it's really local right here.
I vote pretty regularly, like I do it more than some people, and like every single time it comes with, all the sort of feelings of like, is my guy gonna win? Is this other person gonna happen? I guess on the other hand though, I'm kind of thankful that I get to feel that in the first place, because there's a lot of places in, the world where you just can't get to do that, right? And that's something you don't really learn to appreciate until you read about that.
To vote a president to know who will make our country better, are not patriotic, especially helpful to other countries in the world. But since George Washington was our first president, even as we're choosing which president to vote, it's really our patriotic duty to vote who would be a better presidential candidate and the U.S. president.
I'm a little nervous about the election, and not necessarily because of who might win, but because of where we are as a country, and there's so much division and contention. I worry a little bit about how the country will react, sort of regardless of the outcome of the election. But I think the level of division and partisanship right now is it's as bad as it's been in a really long time. I think that's part of the reason why you see, why you're likely to see kind of historic levels of turnout next week, because so many people feel so strongly about this election.
So it's very tense. I'm very excited for it to be over. It's been a lot of work trying to get students to turn out to vote.
So it's hard to get out and advocate, especially having already been kind of like a minority party on campus, especially having there be only a few couple of like active participants. It's very hard to really show that there is a second side. I think there's going to be people who are angry on either side, no matter who wins, and I think that will become a problem.
Politics affects everyone. So the policies, I mean, from top to bottom, I mean, who is in office has an impact on your life. So some of those are really obvious right now, the pandemic or racial justice issues. But, you know, support for higher ed funding, you know, that has an impact on how much you pay in college. You know, tax rates, all of these things, health policy, all of these policies, top to bottom, you know, foreign policy and military spending, they have impacts. And so everyone should take it seriously. You should do your research, figure out who you agree with, and absolutely vote.
Politics can't be a hobby or something you just look at once in a while. It's something that affects you every day, whether you like it or not. And if you're someone that's not part of a marginalized group necessarily, you can't, I guess I'd just say that's a really privileged stance to be able to say. You're not under attack. Your rights aren't under attack. You're not under the threat of a rise in hate crimes or anti-Semitism. So if you are a white man, for example, you can't take that for granted. You need to get involved in the political process, because people you care about are the ones who might be under threat from people who are closing in on authoritarianism and fighting against basic rights for people and only supporting the 1% of the population. So if you don't care about politics, I don't know what to tell you, but politics cares about you, and it's going to affect your life and those you care about.